Today marks 1410th day, sharing lessons I learn and continue to learn with you. My hope these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help achieve your goals, really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today I speak about probably one of the most important, if not the most important topics of all, and that is choice. Choice. You're making thousands of choices sometimes every single day with very minimal choices, and after going into the bigger choices. And that's why this topic is such an important topic, and I think we constantly need to reflect on so many different aspects of about choice. And today we'll share 7 things that we need to know about choice, that we can get better at making choices. So number 1 is the nature of choice. So the nature of choice probably have 3 key aspects of it. So number 1 is, of course, how many options do you have? What options do you have in general? Because of course, when you need to make a choice, is choice between 2 options, at least 2 options. You're not able to make a choice if there's only one option. You just need to do it. Now, sometimes it's just is a choice as well, like do it or not do it. It's again 2 choices, and it's like sometimes when you don't choose to take action, you choose not to take action. So it means every single thing that we do is a choice. Because somebody say, I choose not to take action, and I choose to take action. Second thing is that evaluation, and that again, I think that this is where the successful people from unsuccessful people separate, because options sometimes people have exactly the same options, but the way how they evaluate those options are totally different, and that's why one person with exactly the same capacity, exactly the same skills, end up being in the worst position, because other person having the same skill sets, maybe even worse position, that other person makes better choices and of course moves better and makes better choices because it evaluates those options better. So you have options, and you need to evaluate those options. And of course, the last thing and the most important part of choices is commitment. Because when you make that choice, what determines success is commitment. Commitment to that choice, actions that are chosen after chosen option. We have options. You evaluate those options, and then you choose that most favorite option, and you need to commit to that option. And it says that I like what John C. Maxwell says. That decision making sometimes is overrated. So like when I will decide, everything will be great. What really sometimes is underrated is how you manage those decisions, how you manage those choices, and on a daily basis. And that means we need to have that commitment to that choice, commitment to evaluation that we have. Because if we trust that our evaluation was great, we trust that those options was well thought about, that means that we need to commit and really pursue wholeheartedly, give ourselves full commitment to that option. Number 2 is why understanding choice matters. And probably the most important reason is that you understand you have an agency. You have an agency for yourself. You're able to take ownership of your life. Because when you master your choices, you increase your influence over your own life. When you do not have choice, when you feel that you don't have a choice, then sometimes we feel ability to have freedom of our own life, and as we can potentially blame others for our own life circumstances. But when you say that it's my own fault that I'm in this position, so that means that I have a choice to do that. I have a choice to really blame others, so I have a choice to take ownership of my life and move forward. So that means that agency is in choice. Second thing that is that growth. Choice matters because of growth. I think that there's no growth without choice. So every single time when you want to grow, we need to make a choice to do so. We need to make a choice that really expands us. Sometimes we can really make a choice. Do you want to live in a comfort? Do you want to live in growth? Do you want to live in mediocrity? Do you want to live in ambition and pursuit of something more meaningful? I think this is again the choice of growth. You're not able to grow without the choice. So when you think about growth, what do you need to choose to really start growing? At the same time, is a freedom a burden? And I think that there's sometimes people have an option, and you have two options, two choices, and like should I take this? Should I take this? And both of them are great options. I think that sometimes it could be you have a freedom to choose, but sometimes we ourselves put in a burden to find another option, because if one of those already great option, why you need to look for another option? Sometimes it's great to look for third option, but sometimes if you do not take any action, the first best action is to choose to take action, because we can really live in an analysis paralysis thing, and that analysis paralysis is a burden that we put on ourselves. And that means that we need to really live our freedom, navigate our freedom without overwhelming ourselves with all the options, possible options, and all the analysis of those options. So freedom to take action. Number 3 is dimensions of choices. There's multiple dimensions. Number 1 dimension is conscious and unconscious. And I think that's conscious is that you deliberately make that choice, and unconscious is, of course, driven by habits or by routines, by the things that you even don't consider. For example, when you're going to work and you have been driving to that work maybe 1,000 times and you deliberately chose which direction you go, at some point, those decisions is solely unconscious. You make the decision to turn left or right unconsciously without even thinking about it. And sometimes that could be great, but sometimes those choices that as unconscious was helpful in the past, but they're not helpful at the moment. So that means that if we want to really live our life, we need to really master and be aware of our unconscious choices, so we can rewire the ones that it doesn't add value to us anymore. Second dimension of choices is immediate or delayed. Immediate or delayed. So that means this is again one of the most important. So some instant gratification or delayed gratification, insert or reaction, or delayed long-term outcomes. And I think that this again will dictate who will succeed, who's not. Because if you're always looking into the only one benefit, so that means that I want feel pleasure right now, so maybe I will eat a cake, but I want long-term health, so that means I will put away that cake and I will eat a salad. I will eat something. I will eat a chicken. I will eat something that is actually nurturing my health. So those two things. One is looking into the pleasure right way. Other choices is looking into long-term consequence and beneficial consequence in the future, and learning how to prioritize your choices based on long-term consequences. I think that's very, very important. Third dimension is minor or major choices. So it means that minor is like daily routines that you do, and major is like the life-altering decisions. And I think that when we look into, even though that life-altering decisions seems important, sometimes even more important than minor decisions, but what matters is that long-term decisions that we make, they require a lot of minor decisions every single day, because our life, our future is built daily. So our daily minor decisions need to actually add up in that major decision. Because if a minor decision doesn't add up in a long-term decision, we will never achieve that long-term decision, because we need to make sure that minor decisions align with the long-term decisions. And last one is an external versus internal choice. And it might be the choice is constrained by circumstances, maybe moving to another city for a different reason, for a job. It could be internal choice, like mindset, attitude, interpretation of events, our stories to tell ourselves. So I think that we need to understand that at the end of the day, again, this part of the agency, being able to understand that our internal decisions choices are much more important than external choices. And if we're able to really understand that, our life could be much more in control, because know that you are in control of your life. Number 4, forces that shape choices. And this is quite easy to understand. Cognitive biases. That means that potentially we are biased, and really being able to be aware of those biases and really catch them. Social pressures, peers, friends, family, really pressuring you to do the things that you potentially don't want to do. and being able to really go outside of social environment and really do the right things for you, not what's right for your friends and family. Emotions, again, those are massively influencing our choices, forcing us to make decisions that might be not the best for us. Fear of rejection, fear of missing out, fear of all the things, um, desire, boredom, like so many emotions that potentially push us into making choices that could be the best for us or could be the worst of us. Understanding like where this choice is coming from. Does it coming from emotion? Does it coming from a logic? Is very important. Is habits or defaults. It might be that our daily choices is totally based on habits, but again, those habits might be not helpful for us anymore. And being able to understand, okay, what is habitual choices that I make on a daily basis, and what are those choices that I need to change? Because some default setting is wrong. Sometimes you need to go back to default setting because the best is default. But sometimes you need to really remove the default and really change the default setting to something that is actually adding value. And then last thing that I could mention is information. Information, lack of information or more, because you need to understand that with the more perspective you have, the more wisdom you have, the more choices, the better choice we could make. But sometimes more information is not what we need. Sometimes we need to take action on the information that we already have. Because so many people get stuck saying, I just need more information. I'm not ready. I need more information. And that's not a place to be in as well. Number 5 is a paradox of choice. That means that more options we have potentially could create paralysis and anxiety and discussion. So more options doesn't lead sometimes to the best option, the best choice. Sometimes you need to have fewer well-chosen options that really leads to more purposeful, more satisfaction, and more focus in life. So key insight is mastery of choice is less about having options and more about clarity criteria for selecting. So when you understand the criteria that you're looking for and you're looking to get like, I have 2 options, but based on criteria, one option is full aligning what they need, and maybe I don't need another option at the moment. I just go after the one that I already have in my hand. Number 6 is a framework for better choices. So what are the framework? And I will share like 6 steps. So clarify your values. Of course, when you think about life, knowing your values will be one of the best things for you to do to really make better choices on a daily basis because it's aligned with my values. Define the decision space. That means that what are your realistic options? What are your realistic options? So when you know exactly what your options are, because sometimes I think that when you have one option and 2 options, I think that sometimes it's great to look for 1 or 2 days, 3 days for the best option. Because sometimes when we get looking to find one option only, I think that's could be the worst thing. Because when we're looking for options, we find one option and say, okay, this is a good option, okay, I will take it. But maybe if you'll just spend 1 day for giving like this idea, 1 day, if after 1 day of looking for options, whatever option I find, I will do it. But if you give yourself full permission to find 2 options, now you have a comparison, and that comparison gives you a better evaluation. So evaluate outcomes. So consider impact, alignment with values. Because I think that sometimes when you really think about impact of those choices, I think that people do not make the best choice sometimes when they don't think about the consequences and impact of those choices in a long-term perspective. When you start to evaluate, well, you make better choices. Anticipate biases, of course, this is very important because if we start to get biased based on our emotions, social pressure, or habits skewing your view, we need to really know and be aware of it and really remove them as much as we can. Commit with focus. When chosen, act decisively and remove all the distractions. That's a good way of looking into choices. And number 6, and probably one of the easiest and the most simple, is reflect and iterate. That means we need to pivot, review the outcomes to see what's working, what's not working, what I need help with, and really just reflect and review. And probably the last thing that I want to mention, and that probably one of the most important, is method choice. And method choice is that you can choose how you choose. And that means you need to understand that we need to really learn how you make decisions, and this is, again, there's a part of the framework, how you make better choices. And when you understand, okay, this is how I will choose next time about this, how this is what I reflect on. And when you really look into that, how you approach all your choices in life, and you build a system and process in place that really allows you to make better choices, I think that's, again, will dictate how far we can go with our lives, how fast we can become the best version of ourselves, how better our could be our relationships, our health, our finance could improve just by improving the way how we make choices. So I hope that you reflect as well how you make decisions and choices right now, and how you will love to make those in the future. So I hope you choose to win, and see you tomorrow.